Welcome back to the House Huddle. If this is your first time, I'm excited to share a new perspective with you and look forward to future discussions. I hope you enjoy the content and choose to subscribe. Over the past 4 years, many channels and networks have covered the Watts case, and more often than not, it has been the same regurgitated theories repackaged and shared again.
Hey guys!
It's in my opinion that the reason this case continues to come front and center is because the real issues continue to be ignored, covered up, or deemed as shameful one way or another. How in the world do we ever intend to make a positive change in this world and truly seek prevention if we refuse to openly discuss the real issues? It doesn't excuse any one of person's behavior, rather acknowledges that we are all human. We all have emotions. We all have the choice on how to handle those emotions. We all have a moral compass, whether we choose to follow it or pay close attention to it or not. The question is, do you know how to even express or verbalize your emotions in a healthy manner? I believe if we are honest with ourselves, we can all pinpoint on more than one occurrence where we, personally, could have handled a situation a little bit better. The mentality of reality. Let's discuss that. Chris Watts was born and raised in a middle-class family. His parents were able to help him attend his dream school to pursue his dream career. Not poor, but frugal. Chris had savings and was focused on his career as a NASCAR tech, and essentially, he was on the right path for a bright future. Shanann grew up in a very similar circumstance, middle-class upbringing in a small town. She did have some struggles at home, and she confided in her teacher about some of these things. It's not unheard of for teenagers to struggle with their parents. I do think it warrants discussing getting married so young. She had a plan to escape what she felt was, in my opinion, maybe not a failure, but she wanted better for her future. And I don't think anyone can fault her for that. I think most women in small towns, I certainly can relate, that unless you're inheriting a family business or have no professional ambition and just simply want to get married and have a family, most females from small towns want to get out at some point. They want to go and see the world and what it has to offer. Shanann reminds me of this type of person. She didn't always agree with her parents, but she loved them. She knew if she stayed where she was, she would pretty much have that small town lifestyle. I don't think that turned out to be what she may have originally thought it would be or what it would look like. I think this is indicative of her personal growth after her first divorce. She got married right out of high school, and there's a lot to discuss even with that notion. She said she put him through college and then it didn't work out. It's as if she poured her everything into that marriage and relationship so much that she lost who she was and what she wanted. The disconnect mentioned by her ex-husband when interviewed, where she poured herself into work towards the end, in my opinion, was just self-preservation. She knew things weren't working, and when it looks like you're headed for a divorce, you start turning inward, you start reflecting on things, and you most certainly start working very hard to make sure that you're financially secured. There's a lot of work and self-discovery that goes into moving past such an identity issue after a divorce. Hey guys, real quick about this part of the video, I just wanted to share that when you spend your life dedicated to supporting and building up a spouse and in efforts to help them be successful with their dreams, and then they succeed, they obtain that goal, they reach it, and then suddenly there's not room for you in their life anymore. It's just my personal opinion that, and this is probably just some personal reflection of my own personality, but I think where it resonates really closely with her is that at the end of the day, it was like, okay, I thought I was going to have this type of lifestyle with him,
and now I've got to go get that life on my own. And so we see this when she starts to build the house in North Carolina.
Her North Carolina house was a labor of love, accomplishment, and hard work. There's something to be said about being able to find your footing after having all the stability ripped out from underneath your feet. Her house certainly screamed bachelorette, and she was in complete design control. The fact that so many criticize her spending habits, in my opinion, is just simply hypocritical for about 95% of the population who, in their mid-20s. I mean, there aren't very many people who can honestly answer the question about credit card debt, what they purchased with extra grants and financial aid money, and produce a substantial savings account at her age. I'm not saying you can't be financially savvy at that age, but I will tell you, our country wouldn't be where it is as far as debt if more people understood personal finances. This brings me to the motive here in part 4 that we will discuss later on, and that is money. Money, in my opinion, was not the motive for murder. If money and status were the motive for these murders, then it would point more directly to Shanann as the one having the issue, rather Chris. Now, let's not underestimate the quietness and the constant denial that everything was fine, because we all know it's not okay to bottle up your emotions and pretend like everything's okay when it's not. However, you really can't miss something you've never had. And Chris, he had some financial independence and savings. However, he thought nothing of it going into a life with Shanann. And no doubt the bankruptcy caught them both off guard. However, something just to keep in mind with finances is, for some people, having debt, having creditors, bankruptcy, for some people, that's not the end of the world. Like, if their lives are not driven by finances, their lives are not driven by being wealthy and having this extravagant lifestyle. And I honestly look at Shanann and Chris's lifestyle, and it wasn't elaborate, and it wasn't extravagant, rather. And I think as we're looking through the pictures and the images from the old house compared to the one at Saratoga Trail, I think you will see what I'm talking about. Yes, it was very well decorated, and she had some really nice pieces, but I did some extensive research and made a few phone calls out to Colorado to some furniture companies and inquired about the cost and things of that nature. So we will definitely break that down in this video. And I hope that just by looking at it, if we take into account what's going to be presented in this video, plus the explanation for the girls' school, and the fact that Lavelle really is a $0 startup business. Now, I'm not saying she didn't spend money in products, and it is an expensive regimen. However, if you compare that to what she would have originally had to have been paying in lupus medications, she actually was saving them a lot of money, if in fact Thrive was really helping her with her lupus. And so, as we look through the following clips, I encourage you to take note of several items that clearly made the trip to Colorado. Some were repurposed and updated to match her new color scheme and themes. Those crazy colors of hers were all her personality. Once I believed it was because of Thrive. However, I see with the older pictures back in North Carolina, she was already one who enjoyed the bold colors and contrasting palettes. I did some online searches for these items and wanted to share with you the total cost of their household decor in Colorado. Not to mention debunk NK's attempt to overshadow Shanann by stating that she had thrift store pieces and didn't need the expensive furniture like Shanann.
Hey guys, Real quick, while I'm trying to get this video completed and finished up, I just wanted to touch base and let you know that I've been searching for this clip. I know there's one here. It's just taking me hours, and I really want to get this video out to you guys tonight. So just wanted to mention that it is clear to anyone who has ever shopped at Target, at Home Goods, at Hobby Lobby, or even the Dollar Tree. If you've ever checked out their holiday decorations, especially at the Dollar Tree for $1. Just a little tidbit here, when we start to look at the videos and the pictures coming forward, just know that a lot, and we have no account for when these items were purchased. These could have been things from her first marriage. These could have been things during her single life where she bought them prior to meeting Chris. So I do think it's very important to keep that stuff in mind, because for the purpose of this video, we will definitely be discussing items in clothes, whether it's clothes, furniture that she had previously. And yes, it contributed to the debt that she had. However, did it really push them into the financial ruins that we know them to have been in at the time of the murders? Now, as we move into this next subject of her clothing, I'll be sharing with you some personal stories of my own so that you will better understand that when I mention these types of possibilities, and frankly, tips for looking sharp on a budget, it's truly coming from a heart of having been there myself. There is no judgment here one way or the other. The truth is, we can all crucify each other on the poor financial decisions we have made from time to time, but I don't see Starbucks going out of business anytime soon. That caramel brulee latte is right around the corner, guys, and can't nobody argue with me that that's not the best $7 coffee ever, or that it's not worth every cent. Shanann very well documented her love for shopping, and no doubt she was a Maxinista, and would have eventually been a YouTube sensation, in my opinion, with decorating on a dime themed playlist. It's a shame she never had that opportunity. Yes, there were bins of items all throughout the garage and basement, but the question no one seems to ask is, when were those items bought? I personally have 9 totes of baby clothes that I've kept, and my kids are now 16 and 13 years old. But let's not jump too far ahead. In this photo, Shanann mentions on her Facebook that due to Thrive, she had lost enough weight to finally pull these super cute linen pants back out. These are pants she had for years, and does she look nice? Yes. Did she go shopping for them that day? No. According to her own Facebook post, it wasn't even in the years that she'd been with Chris. I don't doubt she had sale-itis, we'll call it, where you just have to go, shop a sale, because, I'm guilty of that as well. And that she enjoyed shopping, especially having 2 little girls. But I can't tell you how many trips to Target that I take where I fill up a buggy, and then by the time I get to the registers, I've talked myself out of everything. So, with 2 active young girls, I can only imagine the amount of times this happened to her. What about you? Do you ever find yourself window shopping or putting things back at random? Something I don't understand with whomever is managing Shanann's Facebook page is, why do they keep erasing her voice? This photo and her explanation was what prompted me to create this video. In this photo comment section on Facebook, she mentions to a friend who was complimenting her on her dress that she has had this dress for over 10 years. Now, for whatever reason, the comment seems to have been deleted, or at least I can't find it again, but it made me think back to my own closet. Additionally, my husband has far more clothes than I do, yet half of his are over 10 years old. So yes, she had a closet full of nice clothes, but if you take into account that during her first marriage, she didn't have children, she worked hard and could purchase whatever she wanted. She held on to the things that she loved the most, and over time, she built this wardrobe. This case isn't going anywhere because there's so much to learn and so much to discuss. But it would be far more helpful to shine Shanann in the most objective light if they would quit silencing her voice via her comments and posts. She was a human being. She's allowed to have bad days. Gosh, we all do. The dress, along with the bag that I saw meticulously placed
with tissue paper very decoratively, in her closet hit me right in the heart. Y'all, here's a personal story for you. As a young mother at 20 years old, working a job as a nursing assistant, making next to no money, it was very rare that I ever bought myself anything that wasn't off of a Walmart clearance rack or at the Goodwill. No joke, and I love to thrift store shop to this day. Anywho, one day with my extra financial aid money in my account, I walked past White House Black Market when I fell in love with this one dress. It was priced at $98. I had never in my life ever spent that much money on one item. I tried the dress on just to see how it looked, and it just made me feel like $1,000,000. I won't even lie, it was the fastest card swipe I had ever done in my entire life, and I remember I held on to that White House Black Market bag for about 3 years, displayed it in my closet just like Shanann, because I was proud of that purchase. I am now 37 years old, and I still have that dress. I now call it my D-Day dress because I wore it to my divorce years later, and then a few years after that I wore it to my mother's funeral. I still love the dress and recently wore it to church. $98 and 17 years later, I still wear the dress. I share this with you because of two things. Sometimes you just buy the dang dress. In others, it's a dress that's been in her possession potentially for years. So how so many look at her clothes in her closet and pass judgment so quickly just tells me that many aren't even considering the fact that A, you can buy nice things on sale, and B, you can keep things when they are good quality. Putting your best foot forward doesn't always have to cost you a fortune. This brings us to the household furniture. As you look through these photos found online as taken when Shanann placed her North Carolina home on the market, there will be several things that should look familiar to you from the body cam footage. Remember when I said Maxxinista? For those of you who don't know, that's someone who enjoys shopping at TJ Maxx. You find great items at a discount price. And my fellow Maxxinistas, have you ever gone and not seen some of these exact same pieces in your own stores? For one, I can say I've picked up and looked at some of these very exact pieces, and they range from $29.99 and under. The listing also mentions some furniture pieces could potentially be negotiated along with the price of the house. So yes, she sold the house somewhat furnished, but she did take quite a bit with her to Colorado. Let's go through these next few photos and see what and where these old items were moved and where they were relocated in the Saratoga Trail home. Something I've always taken notice to from day one with the body cam footage has always been that middle cushion on the patio furniture.
Now, I may have to put it in a short, but there is a video where Shanann is actually either walking by next to, or there's pictures. There is proof that, as organized as she was and how she liked things a certain way, that it would be extremely out of character to have the stripes completely jacked up on her furniture out on the patio. So maybe something, maybe nothing. It is definitely something that has always caught my attention, and I don't know, merits looking into a little bit more, because how in the world everything happened out that front door without anybody noticing is still beyond me. As I mentioned earlier about contacting the furniture stores in Colorado, I did find it interesting that there was in fact an Ashley's Furniture Store, and there was also an American Furniture Store, which Shanann did tag herself in on Facebook, and you can still see it in the places that she has visited. Here locally for us, American Furniture Store is a legit discount store where you can get name brand furniture at a discounted rate. Something I learned when I called the store in Colorado was that it operates like a rent-a-center or a rent-to-own furniture store. Initially, I felt that surely she would have bought the entire collection from Ashley Furniture and gotten a pretty good discount even if she financed it, or at least, 1 year with 0% interest. And maybe she did. We haven't seen any receipts, so we don't know for certain. What we do know is that she posted this picture with Bella, and in the caption she mentions they found Bella a bed, and it was in fact at this American Furniture Store. So was the furniture that was new in the Saratoga Trail home all rent-to-own furniture, which we know has a tremendous interest rate attached to it. This changes things a little bit. Not that I believe it was ever intentional. However, what many don't realize about those rent-a-center places is that the interest rate is so high you ultimately end up paying almost 3 times the amount. It's more cost efficient to go to Ashley Furniture and purchase direct than to go to a rent-a-center or a rent-to-own store. The financing is drastically different. What are your thoughts on this? Have you ever purchased an item from one of these places and sent it back once you realized the crazy interest? Did you tough it out and pay it off, pay the full amount? Maybe you're in a situation like this, and man, I can tell you, it is far better to sit on the floor for a couple of paychecks and save to pay cash than it is to lease furniture. I will say it's taken me a lot longer to produce this video and edit, and a lot of that has had to do with my own situation and position, I should say. I am a newlywed with a combined family with 3 kids, and so we have 5 people in here with the dog and trying to get everyone on a budget. And so there are a lot of things that come about when creating these videos, and I think more creators should be a little bit more transparent about what it is that they're dealing with as well, because everyone wants to post these videos now in the front of, hey, let's raise awareness, but no one's actually wanting to talk about the real awareness of what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis in real life. Because cut off there for a second, but there's just so much that we can learn from these different cases. And even with the Watts case, there's so many different dynamics of whether it's public health, it's personal finance, it is time management, family relationships, the dynamics that go on there, being true to yourself, being compassionate, being graceful, what true forgiveness means, what does it mean to grieve. All of these are issues that we see that need to be addressed within this case. But at the same time, creators certainly need to be open to the fact that sometimes we face these things on a daily basis ourselves. Something I've wanted to discuss is that I did find that the living room collection that Shanann had at the Saratoga Trail home was by Ashley Home Furniture. The design was Levon Charcoal Collection. And again, as I mentioned, the American Furniture Store that I called did indeed say that it operated like a rent-a-center. So I went over and called my local Ashley Furniture store and discussed with them what the cost would be if we were to get the furniture, like the living room set. For the 3-piece sofa, love seat, and accent chairs, it's $1,371.98. For the coffee table set of 3 with a clear glass with black was $244 even. So $244 even for the coffee tables in the living room. The tall accent lamp that we see, that lamp actually came from North Carolina with her. So that's almost, it's $157.99 today. And then, of course, you would times that by 2 because it appears that she had 2. I think, as we've seen in the video, the mirror, like the hourglass shape, that came from North Carolina. The round accent shelf, that came from North Carolina. As you can see here, those signs can be found at Hobby Lobby. You will see throughout this video where I have tagged whether items I have actually seen in local stores or not. That lamp that it's pointing to, that lamp actually came from North Carolina. These mirrors, they come in a set of 2, and you can find those. You'll notice some of the knickknacks on her desk. Those actually came from that shelf earlier in the video where I said she clearly packed this shelf. You will see quite a bit of that. Notice that right there? Boom, came from the bedroom. So she definitely had the house decorated, but to jump to the assumption and the conclusion that she just like moved to Colorado and just started blowing money on designing and decorating the house, I'm not saying she didn't make some poor choices. I do think we can all agree with that based on the credit card statements. However, if you look at it, she used a gift from Lavelle to decorate her office, as most people would. The potted plants that you see, they're typically $12.99 to $14.99 at TJ Maxx. A lot of those came from her home in North Carolina. Something I've never really pondered, but do you think it's possible she could have come home from North Carolina and started to pack to leave, or at least was going through her things? I mean, it very well could be that she'd just been traveling a lot recently and had gone through things trying to pack and unpack stuff, but somebody was definitely looking for something in that office or couldn't find what they were looking for. Let's look a little more into the home. See that centerpiece right there? It's the same centerpiece from North Carolina. She just added some different flowers to it. And the orange candles that are seen in the crystal holders, those came from that shelf. You had to see it in the mirror, but you can see the round shelf came with her as well. This little accent piece right here on the staircase, I mean, again, it looks nice. It doesn't cost a lot of money to look nice. How about this? Check out this video.
Yay! You did it!
Good job, Bella. Like, now you just want to get down all the time, huh? Now you just want to get down all the time? You're good.
Good job! Yay!
Good job, Bella. Good job.
You did it! Good job! You just want us to praise you.
I think it's the outfit. She can just slide down.
Good job, baby.
Good job, Bella.
She likes the praises.
Oh, yeah. She's like, clap
Now
for
go
me.
up.
She's like, clap for me.
No, you gotta go up first. You gotta go up first, silly. You gotta go up. You gotta go up more than one stair. No, go up.
Go up. Yeah.
I love you, sweetheart. No, what do you gotta do down here?
Now this is the confusing part, Bella. You gotta turn around. Turn around. This is how you turn around.
Remember back when I was talking about she could have potentially saved some money if the Thrive actually was helping with lupus? And I just found this statistic interesting from lupus.org. In the year following a diagnosis, the average healthcare costs per person were $13,415 for those with mild lupus, $29,512 for those with moderate lupus, and $68,260 for those with severe lupus. That's a lot of money in medications, and actually noted as one of the number one reasons why lupus patients do not take their medications and do not receive the proper treatment. Again, here you have quite a few finds that she very easily could have gotten from Hobby Lobby or, one of the home goods types of stores. I do know those green baskets come from the Dollar Tree, and some Dollar Trees actually do carry those canisters with the Tide Pods in them. And something to take note of is how these clothes are hung over the washer and dryer. I think that is very indicative that Chris was doing laundry. And you can see this on an earlier Facebook post where she notes that he did laundry the quote-unquote proper way because he did it how he knew that she liked it. Now, I may not be a fan of Dr. Google, but I sure as heck know how to locate some shopping. And I found her bed located on Wayfair. And as of 2022, it is selling for $2,380. However, the original cost was only $2,899. So they definitely had a nice bedroom set, and I do say set because the bedside tables, as well as the dresser, is typically a combo that you will see at those furniture stores. So I am curious if she got the bed from the furniture store or if this was in fact a Wayfair purchase and she just purchased the accent tables to go along with the bed as well. Just a side note, I will never understand why they are touching everything with their hands and not putting gloves on. I do not understand it. And how in the world with that blue nitrile glove back there, if you see it at his feet right there, what in the world did not possess them to stop immediately when you see a glove on the ground like that? I don't know. Alarms should be going off. Again, some of these vases I've seen before at TJ Maxx. That was a wedding gift. The little wooden doll that's next to it, the willow tree doll or figure, is typically a gift that's given as well. So a lot of these items that I see personally are from North Carolina, very well could have been or were established to have been gifts that were given, and she utilized that to decorate her home. In just a moment, you're going to see something in the shower. I highly suggest you pause the video. This is something very small, but it has often been just kind of overlooked. I think I've literally been through these videos too many times, but part of me does believe that she came home and she got a shower. And I say that because look on the wall. Do you see that Thrive patch right there on the wall? If you don't see it, rewind, go back, and you'll see it. I actually may take a screenshot and just put it in. Hold on just a second. I say this sticks out to me, and I really believe she took a shower, because if you think about it, if you have a Band-Aid on or something like that and you are exhausted and you're taking a shower, I know it's one of those things, those little taboo things we don't ever really talk about. You take the Band-Aid off and you stick it on the wall, or I don't know. It's one of those just random things that stands out. And so I don't know. What do you think? Just wrapping up a little bit, I wanted to just share that sometimes creators, we need to be careful that we're not so keen on talking about someone else's tragedy that we too forget to mention that behind the screen there is a human being. We are not perfect, and we have feelings, and we have families, and we have careers. And so just as easily as it is to look at this case and pick apart every little thing that was said or that was done or that was posted, it's really not going to change anything if we don't look at these cases, and as we are discussing them, being, with respect to privacy, being transparent, and just expressing and sharing that, there are others out there who have also gone through hell and have had to get back up on their own 2 feet. There are, unfortunately, many people who have been divorced, who have gone through the ups and downs of custody battles, who have overcome poverty, who have worked jobs that they didn't like in order to obtain and achieve goals that they had for themselves as well as for their family. There's so much to it, and that is the part of true crime that we have to hold on to, and that is the humanity. That is the realistic understanding that we're all human. And so what I would like to leave you with is this. Just know that it's not up for other people to force you to keep reliving a mistake that you made in your past, or a moment in time where maybe you weren't up to someone else's expectation. You know what? If you're even watching this video, that means that you made it through. That means that you woke up this morning and you're still going, and that right there is a win. And some days that's the only win you have, is that you woke up and you survived the day. But you know what? You wake up again and you go after it. So I hope this will just open your eyes to this channel and this purpose, and understand that this is and never will be just another Watts video. Thanks, guys.